So, Sean, I appreciate you taking the time. I know that you have a lot going on, so it's great that you were able to carve out some time to build some stuff with us. And I am going to start signing up for OneGraph. While I'm doing that, do you want to talk a little bit about what OneGraph is and what it does?
Yeah, sure. So the idea is fairly simple. It's like a pretty easy to get concept. OneGraph is effectively a GraphQL wrapper around existing public APIs and some not APIs. And it makes it so that you can basically explore the entire internet with just GraphQL. And then you can use it either on the server. So, kind of traditionally, if you were to make a Gmail app, for example, you'd probably build it from the server up. Or you can use it entirely kind of client side with no server, and we'll handle all of the server queries, mutations, that kind of thing. So the idea is really simple, but kind of watching it in action is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, I just realized that my password generator was kind of out on the stream, so I'm trying to do it off screen here.
No worries.
Let's do here. And okay, that'll work. Did I lose my window? Here. And so we did a quick demo on a call, and you were talking about the like you showed me stuff that kind of blew my mind, which was really cool. Like you've got full integration with like Gmail, and you can just
Yeah.
drop in some really like stuff that seems very very hard. You just kind of like did on the fly, which was pretty
Yeah.
exciting.
I mean, if you're comfortable, we can also do it with your Gmail.
Yeah, yeah.
You could try it for the first time.
Let's do it. We'll we'll see how this goes. So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to create an app, and let's see any apps I create. My new app ID. Okay. And I
So
just
this is the
leave.
part where if you use it from the front end, we're going to enforce CORS to make sure that everything is secure.
Got it.
So in this case, localhost 3000 should be fine. It's already in there.
Oh yeah, I guess we can just run Gatsby on that port.
Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
mean, as you like. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
And now, let's see, support, good deal, awesome. So let's go into what should I do? The Data Explorer first, you think?
Yeah, I think so. All right, so we're using Graphical, and we haven't open sourced this yet, but we need to do this soon. But we actually have this piece called the Explorer. So if we open up the Explorer,
And that's here.
mhm, and this lets you actually kind of visually navigate the GraphQL query and kind of interact with GraphQL without actually knowing what it is. It's like a really nice way of both seeing what's available and of like getting your bearings on just GraphQL in general.
Oh wow, that's super cool. So let's start with the easy one. What happens if I just run me?
So me is like to find whether or not you're logged in. So
Okay.
let's do YouTube, for example. So auth is what we'll use if we're trying to send an authenticated query, and we already have our OAuth token.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just have OneGraph handle it for now. So we'll do authentication and YouTube, and this is all using like the OneGraph JavaScript app, just like you would in your app. So you can just do like OneGraph auth login with YouTube, and it will take care of this window.
Oh wait, what am I doing? I need to go. Oh crap! I need to go back. So let me do that again.
That's
Here,
fine.
do it with my other account. This one, and then I've got this one. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So now you can uncheck the auths.
Uncheck the auths.
Yeah. So the idea is auth is like I'm going to bring my own auth.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, like OneGraph will handle it. So if you expand to YouTube and get your email, maybe. I guess it'll do that.
Wow, it gives you everything.
Yep. Yeah, I think by default it's like if you don't have your an ID in there, then it'll expand everything.
Sure.
Yeah. So now we're logged in with YouTube, and we can actually make some YouTube. Like, you want to go grab a YouTube video ID real quick?
Yeah. Let's go to my YouTube channel, and we'll pull in something. What do we got? Here, just grab this first one.
There he is.
Hey, I just sent you a message. Okay, so we've got that.
Okay. And now back in our data explorer. Let's find the YouTube video top in. Actually, let's do YouTube video. So this is an older part of the OneGraph that we'll clean up in a bit, but towards the bottom, there's YouTube video.
Ah, here, got it.
Yeah. Parameterized by an ID. You can just pop that in. And let's pull out, snippet. And then that's going to have a title. And let's try it out, see if it works. Cool.
Oh, that is slick.
And you want to get the comments on it, maybe?
Sure.
So I think it's comment threads up towards the top. And then we implement, the traditional pagination patterns everywhere. So you never have to, like, the pagination is uniform across all the different APIs, which is nice.
Yeah. Wow, this goes deep, huh? It looks like that one doesn't have any. That doesn't have any comments on it. Let me grab one that does, because that seems like it would be interesting to see. Let's go to. Let's see. There's one in here that's got a lot of comments on it. It's the Node one.
Hey everybody, this is Jason Langsdorf, and today I want to walk through the...
Okay, so let's get back over here, and we'll swap it out for this one.
Okay, and let's go into the snippet, and let's pull out maybe the original text. So text, yeah, original. Try that. Cool. And you can see we're able to do this in, I guess, just a few API calls, which is nice.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so, this is 2 API calls. And then does this show like how many it would have been had it been just REST?
We don't show that right now, no.
Okay. That's slick though, because that is, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So like we find a way to kind of optimize for the underlying APIs. So for example, with YouTube in the REST way, you can specify which kind of chunks of fields you want. Mm-hmm. And so we automatically detect which fields you've specified in the OneGraph, in the GraphQL data explorer. And then we figure out the optimized query to send to the YouTube video, so we get all of that data back in as few calls as possible and as little time as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super slick. Okay, and so then all of that I've just done, we did from the UI. Like, we didn't have to do any other work. So now I can do this with my other setup as well. So if I go into Google, I just have to authenticate with Google. Should I do Gmail, do you think?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do Gmail. Hopefully.
Trello is also a fun one. I don't know if you have a Trello account.
I do, but I can't remember what's in it, so I'm not sure I want it to come out. So I'm going to do my personal email, and we're going to see what shows up. So I go into, is Gmail up here somewhere? Or
it's in Google.
Google. And then
you got
Gmail. And let's go.
Let's query threads. And maybe search for something. So the queue is a query. Okay. And I believe if you hover over the queue, it should kind of give you a doc string. We should probably do a better way of exposing it, but you can kind of see the docs are in line.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, let me look at my inbox over here so that I can see what's in here to look at. And let's query for. Let's see. I've got some marketing stuff. So let's look for Circle CI.
Oh, nice.
And then.
Okay. So let's pull out the threads then.
Threads.
And we want to do the expanded. This is another area that we'll probably clean up a little bit. Now we want to get the messages inside of the thread.
Okay.
And now the snippet is fine, I guess.
And that should be enough
Let's
to
see.
see some messages, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
fingers crossed anyway. Yeah, there we go.
Cool. And so this is or where's the subject line? Let's pull that out.
So if you go under payload,
Payload here.
yeah. So now you'll see
Subject. Okay. And so that's the subject. And I'll just bring my email over real quick. Here's the
nice.
email that we just pulled out, right? So that's super slick.
Yeah, and the nice thing is like actually the subject field doesn't exist in the Gmail API. It's
Really?
actually just a list of headers that you have to fold over and search through like a subject looking one. But we're actually able to add derived fields on top of the API to kind of start to clean it up and make it the API that you would want to have.
Yeah, this is slick. This is like really, really cool stuff.
By the way, if you go to list unsubscribe and you grab the HTTP or the mail to, let's see if Circle CI gives you, they're not good players. They don't give you a way to unsubscribe automatically. Oh, there you go. Okay. So if you wanted to unsubscribe, you just send an email to that, and that will unsubscribe your specific email from Circle CI.
Huh. That's pretty cool that like, yeah, this is I mean, and you can see the power of this too, right? Because then if we come down here to mutations, can I like send an email to somebody? I'll like,
Yeah, sure.
all right, let's do it. Let's send an email. I'm going to send an email. I'll send it to my Gatsby email so I can also see it. And the data that I'm going to send is a subject. The subject is going to be sent from OneGraph. And then we're going to send a body.
You can fill that out on the left if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah, I can I? Do I need to send out, I need to fill out the two. So let's send it to.
And just tab.
And do we need anything else, or will it automatically fill out the rest?
Let's remove out the thread ID, but I think everything else is optional.
Okay.
And then now we need to select some result fields from it.
And do those? Let's see. Does it show me those?
That's under message, yeah.
And let's just bring out the. I guess the snippet is fine. And that's it, right? I can just send that?
This may not work. Yeah, so what happens, I think, in this case is we actually need to have write permissions for Gmail. And by default, the Data Explorer only has...
Yeah, it looks like I didn't give it a from field. Oh, insufficient permissions. Okay, so I would need to grant additional permissions.
Exactly. And we don't actually request those permissions inside of the Data Explorer, just to keep it safe.
No, that makes
but
sense.
inside of your app, you can request it.
Okay, cool. Well, that's I mean that's still like you can see how much you could do with this. You know, if you could build your own email client without ever having to worry about like handling email. That's a pretty slick way to do this.
It's not bad.
Well, cool. So what we were going to do today is we were going to just build from an RSS feed, and we thought it would be fun to do two RSS feeds and just kind of show how that would work. So the first one is we're going to pull in front end happy hour, and I'm going to do that by getting the RSS feed, and we'll drop that in here. And I'm going to name this one, so we'll just call this front end happy hour, or a short version. And then out of this side, we're going to get the items. And let's just start with the title. And so that's a long title.
Yeah, RSS feeds are not super uniform. Some people put like the entire content in there and whatnot.
Yeah, so they got the title of the podcast. I wonder if they put... yeah, this is good. This is all fine. So we've got a link to the podcast. We've got their title. Did they even put the names of the things in here? They didn't, did they? No, they did.
Maybe under yeah. Idle.
Yeah, it looks like it's getting pulled out of summary for some reason. But that's all right. We can work with this. And then
Okay.
let's see. Did I do?
The content is usually empty. If you do enclosure,
Mm-hmm.
and let's just get all three of those. So if they're nice, then that'll give us a link to the MP3.
Yep. So that's perfect. And what else do we need here? Do we need anything else? I think that's all, right? So then
I might go to, actually, if you pull out the image above items, let's get the URI for it. That way we can show like a preview of the description. Okay, so that's the picture for the podcast.
Okay, and then we can do the same thing. We'll name that one. And so the reason that I'm naming it is it's going to change what comes back here. And that means that we can take all of this and create.
You want to make it a fragment?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good call. So let's do a fragment. Let's see if I remember fragment syntax. Fragment, let's see, RSS, fragment on, what type is this? RSS2 channel. And then we're going to take all of this and that.
Braver than me. That was a good job, though.
We're going to do a RSS fragment. And I think if I did that right, it works. Okay, so next we can do our other podcast. We're going to grab the React podcast. And I'm going to take this and then we'll do React podcast. And we can just copy paste all of this. I forgot to, let's see, do that. So drop this one in here, and then we're going to take this. And then you had said we need to drop the HTTP for now.
Yeah.
Replace this here. And what we should be able to do then is collapse this one, and now we've got the React podcast. And that is super cool because what we're going to be able to do now is build like a mashup filter of the or a mashup app that's going to pull in, one or more different podcasts into a centralized feed, which is pretty slick here. So let's talk about how we actually make this happen. So I have my app. Let me clear here. Okay, so I have an app that we're going to build. Let's do Gatsby new. Did you have a starter that you used when you were kind of doing proof of concept on this?
Yeah, so I just went to the Gatsby repository, and under examples, there's the Gatsby using source GraphQL example.
Okay, examples, and then using source GraphQL.
I think there's source in there somewhere. Yeah, using Gatsby source.
Got it.
GraphQL.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So, perfect. All right. So let's just do this then. Let me just start a new site, and I'll start it from the hello world so that we can kind of do the whole thing. We'll do Gatsby.js, Gatsby starter, hello world, and if I spelled everything right, that should give us a podcast mashup. Okay.
Pretty quick.
And now we're doing yarn install on the dependencies. We've got a couple comments coming in from the the chat just talking about how cool this all looks, which I wholeheartedly agree. All right, so let's get into our podcast mashup, and we will open that. So in here, what we can do is start by installing that Gatsby source GraphQL, or I'm going to use Yarn. And over here, we can install or create a Gatsby config. And now we get to see how well I remember how to write all this.
Yes, I'm going to look at, I have an example of doing this earlier, so let me see.
Okay, so let's go look at the Gatsby source GraphQL. So this is one that is super exciting. Effectively, what this allows us to do is any pack or any GraphQL API, rather than having to write a custom wrapper for it, we're able to just pull it straight in. So, for example, for the Star Wars API, which lives here, all we have to do is give it a type name, give it a field name to query under, and then tell Gatsby where to find it. That's because it's unauthenticated. In GitHub, we need to authenticate, so we also pass in headers with a bearer token. And if you needed additional things, you can do that as well. Or you've got like a hardcore custom option where we use create link to do Apollo link. It looks like we aren't going to need to do that. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah, we can just do the Star Wars API example.
The API example that I would find is, let's see, how do I find my...
All right, so we need the app ID.
Okay.
And let's go into the config and paste it in there. We'll use it in just a second. So the URL is going to be https serve.onegraph.com /dynamic. And then there's a query parameter of app_ID. And that's just set to your app. Yeah. And dynamic, so the idea is we actually allow you to store persisted queries. And so the cool thing is, like, that RSS feed that you just built, that query, you can actually save that to an endpoint. And so now you just hit that anywhere, like curl or whatever, and it will actually execute that query with whatever variables you pass in, and you're good to go. So it's pretty cool.
That's very cool. So for this now, do I need to give it a bearer token or anything?
No, you can do that if we were to, for example, go into, like, pull Gmail into your Gatsby site.
Oh, but in this case, we're just doing RSS, right? So we don't need anything. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I need to give it a field name. So we'll do type, and that's going to be OneGraph, or I guess I better. And the field, was it field name? Where was it? Oh, God. Here. Field name, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And just to double check one more time, it's URL. Okay.
Type name. And it's type name.
Type name.
Yeah.
All right. Good thing you're keeping me honest.
Was there a fourth option in there?
There's a refetch interval that's optional. I don't think we need that. So with that being said, what I should be able to do here is yarn develop, and that's going to get us set up with our local instance of graphical. And if I look under this local instance of graphical, I should be able to, come on, little buddy. There we go. I should be able to then look into the schema, and we should see OneGraph in here. Yeah, so here it is. So now I can just start making queries. And what I think I'm going to do.
So we're going to hit an error here. We can actually, let's go ahead and hit it first, but we'll fix it right after you hit it.
Okay. What am I trying to do?
So what's going to happen is we haven't set up the core's origins for this. This is your browser that's going to be, actually, who makes the GraphQL call in this case?
In this case, it's going to come from the browser, so it's going to come from localhost 8000.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that'll fail for us, won't it?
Yeah.
However, I'm not seeing the deprecated field, so I just got to jump in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there isn't a concept of like beta. So
you just keep them deprecated.
Our progress is like it's deprecated beta, public, and then deprecated. That's the life cycle of a field.
Gotcha. Okay. And so then what I should be able to do is over here, I can, I think, just take all of this and let's go back over here. And I think I can just, let's do this. And then I'm going to take these and
Okay.
unknown type. Oh, yeah, because everything gets prefixed.
Yep, which is how it should be. Cool.
And
yeah,
there
I
we
guess
go.
it worked.
So that's pretty, like, that's slick. It took us all of like 5 minutes, including my typos, to get this integrated, which is, you know, I don't know how many times you've attempted to do this without GraphQL. It's
nice, yeah.
Yeah, this is really nice. So then in our pages, we can. How should we do this? Let's do. We'll just do a div. Or I guess we can maybe start with like a list. And this is going to be. Let's see. We want to get the query, so we can do export const query. And the query that we're going to export is going to use GraphQL, not GQL.
And what is the difference between the GQL tag and the GraphQL tag?
So in Gatsby, we have like our own GraphQL extraction since we run at build time. So the GraphQL tag in Gatsby is actually a no-op. Because what will happen is at build, we'll go find all of these and just rip them out of the source code and execute them ahead of time and then embed the data in the built artifact. So the GQL tag would be used if you actually wanted to run these at like client runtime.
Okay.
So then what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to take the query that we just wrote. I'm going to drop all of that in here. And that should do everything that we want it to. So let's get our data out of the props. And then what we should be able to do is do data OneGraph.
That's fair.
.fair. Yeah, let's start by just maybe dumping this. .rss2 feed, and then we'll do, let's see, that's going to be the RSS2 feed. We get an image and items. So let's do items, and then I'm going to just map over those, and for each of those, we'll return a list item that at first is just going to have, let's do the title is not great on these, but we'll do it anyways. Let's do item.title, and that's going to be it. So in running that, now, if I go to localhost 8000, I should see all my front-end happy hour stuff just listed.
Fingers crossed. Oh, all right.
All right, and so that just happened. So then what we can do is I feel like maybe the next step here is to figure out how to get at get these into alphabetical or into chronological order and include some details, right? So what we've got is we probably need some kind of a helper function. So let's get weird real quick. So let's do sort podcasts, and then we'll get our this?
Let's
Probably
see.
probably just like an array of podcasts, maybe? No.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry, of items.
Oh yeah, so the only problem with that is that we've got the image and title outside of the items. So we almost need to like throw this object in and then attach these to each item so that we can display that as each entry.
Okay.
I think. Let's see how it goes.
Give
So
it a try.
so we will do podcast array, and then we map over that. And so that would give us our podcast, and then our podcast has, let's do the image is going to be the podcast dot RSS to feed dot image. The title is going to be that same thing. And then we're going to have the items. And so I think we can just return items.map. Oh, wait, so we've got each podcast. Oh, shit, we need to like reduce this, don't we?
I think so.
Cool. All right, now we're definitely going to see what I don't know about computer programming. So the reducer has an accumulator, and then a handler, and then a initial value, which is going to be an array in this case. So each of these we're going to return an array that includes the existing items, and then we're going to map over the items. And we want to do the item as well as the podcast title and image.
I think the arguments for reduce, I think it takes both the accumulator and the podcast. Is that what this JavaScript syntax is saying?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me let me look this up. Let's see. It takes the accumulator and the current value, and then
Returns the next state.
And where do you set the initial value?
I think that's an optional second. So you did it correctly. I'm just wondering about, see how the function takes two arguments?
Yes, you are absolutely correct that I should have done it like this.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So I've got my accumulator. I've got my podcast items, and we're going to do that. And I am going to then try to, let's take this, and we're going to run what did I call that function? Sort podcasts. We're not actually sorting it.
We probably want to sort it at some point.
So for now, let's do data dot OneGraph dot fe data dot OneGraph dot rp, and then I think if we do this, we should be able to do something like item.podcast.title. Did it explode? There's no way I got that right on the first try. Okay, good. That's what we needed. So cannot read property title of undefined, which is this one.
Do we need a return somewhere, or is that all?
Yeah, so this is all returning. I do need to just log out the items and see what are we actually creating. Let's take a look at that. So if I dump these, we get our array, and the array is 2 items, which means, oh, I know what we're doing wrong. We need to spread this as well, because then it becomes a flat array.
Okay. Yep. Well, that's not bad.
Okay, so now we've got the front end happy hour, and then down below we should see the React podcast. Way down below, apparently. Yeah, React podcast. And so then we can actually do our sort by just doing a dot sort, and then we can take item, and we didn't pull out a date, did we?
No. What we can add, so that is on, let me look it up. The pub date is a field of item under items.
Under items, we get pub date.
Yep.
And that is perfect. We can sort by that. So we'll add pub date here. And then we will add a sort down here for, let's see. Oh wait, sort has A and B, and then we need to do a.pubdate is greater than b.pubdate. We can just return that. And that may not work. Let's find out.
So the return of sort, is that a undefined? Because I think it does it in place. Let me just double check.
Yeah, I might be making stuff up.
No, that looks right. So numbers.sort returns a new array.
Yeah, and I think the shorthand that I was trying to use was just getting, return a minus b. Oh, yeah, okay. That's why. Because we have to return a number. And what I'm doing is returning a Boolean, so that wouldn't sort anything. So with that in place, maybe.
And do you want to put maybe the pub date in the HTML so we can compare?
Yes, indeed, I do. Let's add it. Where is it? Here. We can do item.pubdate. And so.
And is this going from?
This is ascending order. So
yeah.
let's swap that. We'll do B, A, and front end happy hour. Are these all?
Let's see. I mean, maybe React podcast puts its pub date in a different field.
Yeah, good idea. Let's actually look at that. So here's front end happy hour. Here's React podcast. So React podcast should be giving us a pub date at 153. So let's poke at that and see if 153.
Yeah, I see all front end.
Okay, so I'm clearly doing this wrong.
Is there any React at all in here?
Yes, and it's still getting stuck at the bottom. Which, I think I know why. It's because we're running the sort not on the final array. We're running it on the subarray that we're creating.
Got it, yeah.
So that's just me not knowing how JavaScript works.
Very, very neatly sorting the subarray.
React, front end happy hour.
Oh,
React.
perfect. Yep.
Hey. So that's pretty slick that just worked. And so then we can, from here, we can go to try to make it look nice. So let's see. Let's dump this out. And we can put in, let's do, what do you think, an image?
Yep.
And we'll put in the item.podcast.image.
Dot URI or URL? One of those two.
Oh, is it?
Image.
Image.uri, yes.
Yeah.
And then we'll use the podcast title as the alt text. Okay, my guess is that is going to look all sorts of wild when we first put it in, but that's all right. Then we want.
It's gonna look wonderful.
Let's do the date. This little handy library that I saw Ryan Florence talking about it. So let's see.
Okay.
Master. And this gives us just some helpers without having to actually do like moment or something like that. But I think, oh, come on, just show me how to take a timestamp.
We can just do Nate or new date and pass in the timestamp. That'll give us a date.
Yeah, that's probably easier than trying to learn new software on the fly. So let's see if we do it as a, or I guess we should probably make this into some kind of a title. So we'll do an H2 and then we can do, can you just do like, it's just plus new, or not plus new date, just new date and then item pub date. And then is there like is it two date string?
Yeah, I think there's like a .to local. So let's see, dates to locale string. Yeah, to locale string is probably what you want.
All right, so let's just see what happens if I do that because All right, let's maybe that'll help. Yeah, that'll help. Okay, you know that is good enough for me, so I'm not even going to worry about that. Let's make that even a little bit smaller yet because it's pretty aggressively large. And let's do the title again. So item podcast title. And then down here, we should be able to just drop in this description as a paragraph. And then we get a nice little mashup. I mean, this is far from a gorgeous app that you're going to take to production, but with a little bit of styling, this is going to look pretty slick. And
yeah, it looks fundable to me.
And what's really cool is, I mean, maybe what's another podcast that we could add in here? Like what's one that you've tried that you know works?
I really like the BBC Friday Night Comedy podcast.
Okay, and let's do this. And
under subscribe, should have RSS down there.
Okay, so let me take this, and then just to kind of show how powerful this actually is, let's just add it in. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to drop it in, and hopefully all the fields line up, because that's going to be... Okay, and then all we have to do up here is include it. And so what should happen, fingers crossed, each child should have a unique key prop. Oh, that's just me being bad at this. But But yeah, so check this out. Now we have the BBC comedy is now dropped in, and it took like 0 code changes, which is that's
But wait, we have to add one more thing though.
okay.
Let's add in an audio tag.
Oh yeah, let's do it. All right, so the audio tag is going to be in graphical here. We already have it. We have the enclosure and the URL. So let's plug this in, and I have to look this up.
Yeah.
I haven't done one of these I actually don't know if I've ever done one of these. All right,
cool.
So we've got audio, and then we want controls, and the source is the item.enclosure.uri.
Mm-hmm. And then we want to put some content on URL, yeah. In case the audio tag isn't supported.
Okay. So here's the end of my audio tag, and then inside of it, I'm going to put in okay, and then out here,
Woohoo.
this is you gonna play? I think I might have broken it because I hit that button.
This is the BBC.
There are probably a lot of them loading right
This
now.
podcast is
Scroll down.
Yeah, and I think probably this is something that we'd want to work on, like lazy loading that as opposed to putting those directly into the browser. But yeah, this is slick. So yeah, we just built
supported by advertising outside the UK.
incredible.
Can we deploy this to Netlify now?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's stop it in here. Oops. Let's actually stop it. Nope, not that button. And let's go to Netlify. And am I on my account? Let's see. Okay, I'm on my account. Let's switch to new site from. I guess I better push it. Okay. Do I have? Yeah, I do. I have Hub installed, so it just does me favors like that.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Git at github.com/me podcast mashup. What?
I guess maybe it's even smarter.
Yeah, it adds the HTTP, unfortunately, so you gotta
Okay.
git push origin master. Hey? Oh. And that's just me being bad at Git. I'm getting there. Well,
No, I wouldn't have been able to do it from off the top of my head. Impressive.
okay. So we've got that, and then I think I can do git browse, which will take us straight there. Okay, so we've got this, and so now I can create from GitHub. Let's do the Netlify wants access to my account. That's fine. Here. And wait, why is it installing to everything? Whatever, it's fine. I trust you, Netlify. Okay, so now I should be able to do this podcast mashup. Okay, we're gonna run it with Gatly build. It's a personal site. Let's deploy it. So what I love about this is like, so far it feels like we've almost written no code, which is, I just love this.
Pretty slick, yeah.
So we're building. I didn't try to build this locally. I don't think we did anything. We didn't touch the window object, so it should be just fine. What is going to break though is we didn't set up the cores. So do you want to do that actually while we're in here? So the actual site is going to be, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where this site is going to be. It's going to be at, can I see it? Site settings here. So this is my actual site. So that's where we're going to go. So I need to go into here. And then for cores, I just drop that in. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing is, since this will be rendered, so Gatsby is doing this at build time, right?
Oh, so it's not going to matter anyways.
Yeah. But if we wanted to hydrate this and turn this into an app so that, it started with the pre-rendered stuff and then it, took over on the client side, then that would be what we would want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so how are we doing? Site is live. So we can then go out to our deploys. We can go take a look, and it is built.
Very cool.
Pretty slick. And so there's a lot of things that I just saw these images took a while to load. I'd want to hook those into like Gatsby image so that we could get the lazy loading and other benefits of that. We'd want to be lazy loading the audio file so that we're not, downloading 91 podcasts on every page load. But I mean, like for what has this been like? 45 minutes of work, probably 40 minutes of work. I think we're doing a great job here. All right. So you wanted to show us something cool, right?
Yeah. So this is not released to production yet. So I have to run this off of a local version, but we actually have, so if you go under the Data Explorer.
Under the Explorer.
And go ahead and erase your query. And you try subscription instead.
Here?
No, under Data Explorer, just type in subscription. We can't use the Data Explorer for this yet. I haven't added support. It's so new. So if we close the Explorer.
Close the Explorer.
Yep. And now let's explore under subscription. So I used the word explore. I just meant list the fields under subscription.
Oops. Hold on. I'm doing this. What the hell is the shortcut to?
Control space.
Control space. Okay, I feel like that's what I'm doing.
Is it so? Or you can.
Whoa. Okay, my computer has just done. I'm going to reload the page. Something weird just happened. Okay, so we're going to Data Explorer.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, did you trigger some...
Did I break it?
Query? I think you might have broken it.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, it's good that the bug report on our side will fix that. I can just take over and show you, but let's go to Netlify first.
Okay.
And I think what we can do is you can go to deploy or settings. Let's just go to, so deploy settings, and then there should be a build hook. And let's add a build hook and give it a name. And let's say
Right.
Perfect, yeah. And if you copy that over to me, and I will take over, I'll share my screen if you're up for it.
Yep, go ahead. Or I think I need to stop sharing first, don't I?
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, and then I need to move this over here so that it's visible. Is that, yeah, okay. So I can see that. Let me share or get this chat over to you. There you go.
Okay. So what we can do, so what I was trying to show you is that we now have support for some subscriptions. Like this is kind of a new feature we're rolling out. And the idea here is just like before, you can come in here and say, whenever there's a new Gmail message, I effectively want to pull out the subject and the title and whatnot, and you'll automatically get kind of notifications. We take care of all of the crazy Google Cloud pub sub architecture stuff. We don't support WebSockets yet. The only delivery mechanism is the webhook URL.
Okay.
But what this would do right here is every time you got an email, it would actually trigger a new build of your podcast site. Which is probably not what we want to do in this case.
Right.
But that's like how easy it is to tie together. So what I can do is actually RSS new item. So I'm going to say whenever there is a feed URL, let me hook this up here from the I'm going to grab the link from the chat. So what is the React podcast? All right. So whenever we have a new item on the React RSS feed, then we want to actually hit the webhook URL from here. And in this case, Netlify just kind of ignores any of the body. It doesn't care, just as long as you do a post, it'll trigger a new build.
Okay.
But, you know, if we were building a server-side app, we might actually want it to tell us, you know, for example, what's the title of this item, what's the content of it, what was the pub date, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to go ahead and run this, and I get a subscription ID back. This is how I'm going to cancel it later, and I'll just run it a few times. And if we go back to your screen share, so I'll stop sharing my screen. And if you want to actually share yours and share the Netlify window.
Yep. Let's see. Showing it on the screen, on the here. No, that's not what I wanted here. I'm going to share this and okay. So we're back on deploys.
Yeah, and give me 1 second here. So I'm going to also hook up the other podcast here since there wasn't enough new items yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll pop in a new one and run that subscription. And let's see.
And now the likelihood that either of those are going to publish while we're on this call is pretty low, so we might have to fake it.
Yeah, so I actually added a new URL as well, a new podcast feed as well.
Great.
So it'll see those as new images. And let's see. So it's got some subscription payloads, and hopefully it should have triggered. Yeah, so you can see the building there now.
And it
so
shows
now
here that
the idea is, yeah, we can just basically say anytime there's a new item now, we just want to automatically rebuild our Gatsby site. So even if we were to build like a podcast app where the client took over and rehydrated with the most up-to-date data, this way we basically have, like, we don't have to do anything, and Gatsby itself is always going to keep up to date with the most recent content server-side rendered. And it's only in the case where there's that kind of small gap between Gatsby being rebuilt and the client loading it, that the client will actually take over and do anything meaningful.
Yeah, that's pretty slick. And so, I mean, like, I feel like this is the amount of stuff that we were able to do here, like in being able to get access to data, being able to get that data into a UI, being able to get that UI on screen, and then deploy it with webhooks for live rebuilding. I like 1999 me is just shaking his head and like, no way is this possible. So that
not bad. And
yeah.
Like being able to explore the schema and see everything, like it's a nice mashup of like different technologies. It comes together really nicely.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, yeah, Sean, this is amazing. Is there anything else that you want to show off before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's probably it for today. So, I mean, there's lots of things that are rough around the edges, obviously, but, you know, we're working on it. Just curious if there are any comments or anything that we should address.
So far, nobody has asked any questions. If anybody who's watching has questions about OneGraph, now's your chance.
Yeah, if you have some suggestions for APIs that we should bring in here. So, if you have like a Trello card and you want to render those inside of Gatsby and automatically update it and whatnot, like it's all as easy. Like it basically turns the internet into Lego blocks.
Yeah. And so maybe a couple questions just to get people started. What's the pricing for OneGraph?
So right now, most of it is free. So there are some premium features where, there's usage based. So it's somewhat reasonable here. So, if you're not totally hammering our servers, then it will usually be free. It's free for open source. We actually offer some premium features where we handle, for example, rate limiting, right? One of the biggest challenges whenever you're dealing with, for example, the Twitter API or Salesforce or lots of these other enterprise APIs is rate limits. Because typically you're in the process of going and you're making an API call to get some data back. And really you should be checking for errors, right? You should be checking for authentication errors or not found or rate limits. But usually we follow kind of the happy path. We don't do that. And even if you do check for rate limits, it's really hard to kind of figure out, kind of like exponentially back off, right? So you back off a little bit and then you try again. And now you kind of like have this asynchronous flow or this like sleep behavior, which is challenging. And then also to do that across your entire app, right? You might have multiple, workers or users that are hitting the API. And so like we have features for that where, for example, we allow you to say, I want to automatically paginate through my entire Gmail, for example. I want to download all of my emails. And whenever it's done, I want you to store it in S3 or Google Cloud as a JSON blob. And let me hit that as hard as I want so I don't have the rate limit. And then ping me here whenever it's done. And by the way, while you're doing that, never let my remaining API calls dip below 1,000 for the hour. So that way, like I always have enough in case I need to do a live interaction with a customer or I need to use my email. Right? Never lock me out of my email.
Right. Yeah.
And so you can simply express that as, you can tell that as like a header saying, here's my query, and orthogonal to that, here's the strategy I want you to use with the rate limits and whatnot. So things like that, things like encrypting or integrating with kind of enterprise encryption, so things like Vault, on-premise stuff, that's typically where we actually charge money.
Okay, that's awesome. And so I have a question. Let's see. So the question here is the secrets are stored in the cloud and encrypted at rest. So he's asking what cloud and how is it encrypted?
So we store it in our database, so in our Postgres database in Google Cloud, and it's encrypted with an AES 256 mechanism, and so per row mechanism.
Okay.
And so, and we have like a regular rotation set up for the encryption keys as well, and the rows. The idea is, however, whenever we actually execute the query, we actually have to decrypt it and send that to the upstream provider. Whereas if we integrate with Vault or it's on-premise, for example, we can do it in such a way where the external world, like OneGraph itself, would never actually see those naked credentials.
Okay, very cool. Awesome. So that's the only question that's come through. Sean, thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you, man. This was a blast.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I look forward to building a lot more things with OneGraph, and I'm very grateful that you did all this work so I don't have to.
All right, cool, man. Oh,
Yeah.
cheers.
Take care. Thanks so much.